So to give you some context, so again, September 23rd, 2013.
So you know the date.
Know the date. Normal day, not a big deal. I get a call from a sergeant, say, hey, I need you to come to the hospital and help out on a call. Wasn't even my call, wasn't a big deal. I was like, all right, cool. So I show up, and it was a little girl. Her name is Violet, and she was 5 months old on that day. Her father had thrown her headfirst onto a concrete floor and shattered her skull. That's why she was in the hospital. So my sergeant was like, your job is to stand outside this hospital door, and if he shows up, there's a bed waiting for him. That was my whole job, was to wait for him to show up. He didn't, but I was like, all right, cool. So I'm standing outside the door. The primary officer's doing his investigation. The nurse comes in, and the mother, who was not involved in this whatsoever, completely inconsolable, told the nurse, hey, I need to go use the restroom. So the nurse took Violet, and she went to the restroom, and she's like, officer, I need your help real quick. So I was like, all right, cool, whatever. It wasn't a big deal. She's like, I just need you to speak to her to see if she can move her eyes. I was like, okay. So as softly as I could, as tenderly as I could, I just started talking to her. I said her name. Nothing really happened, so I reached up and I just said her name again. I just kind of touched her cheek a little bit. And when I did that, she reached up. I can remember how her cheek felt. I can remember everything about her. Well, she just grabbed onto my finger and held it to her face. And her eyes she looked right in my face. That was it. And she just held onto my finger, and I stayed there until Mom came back. And for whatever reason, that just, I don't know, no clue why, but that's still, you could see her head was swollen. She had, obviously her skull was pretty damaged, and it just broke me. It broke me. So I leave the hospital room, and as I'm leaving the room, we had an officer that was suffering from ALS, and I see the chief at the time and a bunch of other guys walk by, and they just grab me and like, you need to come with me. So I stand out and I go upstairs to where they took him, and I stood outside his room while he passed away. And his mom, his family, his wife, everybody was walking by me, in the room, out of the room, in the room, out of the room. And every single time, at one point his mom stopped and just goes, every time I look at you, I see my son. Dad, same thing. Never met him. Never worked with the officer. I knew him, never worked with him, but I stood outside that room for hours until he officially passed. All same day.
Wow.
And then after he passed away, they pulled us into a room, talked to us for a little bit, and then, hey, all right, officer, your job's done. Go to work. And back to work I went.
And that's your job.
And that's my job. That's all of our jobs. So when I think about that, like I said, it's not like it was crazy. There was nothing crazy about it. But the way that my dad described it, he said, that little girl just put a little bit of your soul back in you that you were missing. And I hadn't felt anything like that ever while I was working. Like I said, I'd been on, I don't know how many homicides I'd been to. I had told people their family members had been dead. I had done so many other things. And for whatever reason, that little girl at that time did it.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Well, maybe just the innocence, that's
probably
there, just drawing you back out of the chaos into that innocence. And
like I said, 6 years, and I can recall everything. Everything.